Are you a woman standing at a crossroads, eager for change? It's time to connect with your authentic and empowered self at Boss Leap. Join Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker in this empowering community where real-life stories of courageous and talented women inspire and motivate. Engage in honest conversations that foster well-being, drawing from our own journeys. Let us guide you toward profound growth and transformation in both your personal and professional life. Here are your hosts, Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker.
Welcome back to Boss Leap. I'm Dr. Angela Walker, and I am here with my phenomenal co-host, Dr. Sylvia Morris. And we are excited, as usual, to have one of our favorite guests back, Dr. Rhonda Maddox. From Hollywood to Capitol Hill, Dr. Maddox is a trusted advisor across sectors. She's become the go-to strategist for organizations facing intense public scrutiny, policy shifts, and leadership burnout. Her impact includes shaping mental health policy as policy advisor to former Dean of the United States House of Representatives, John Dingell III, rolling out the Affordable Care Act, and breaking barriers as the first psychiatrist in 130 years to lead the Arkansas Medical, Dental, and Pharmaceutical Association during the height of the pandemic. We have so many notes that we've taken from our interviews with Dr. Maddox and never get tired of her sage advice, and would love for you to share this episode with friends and family because we know it's something in there is pertinent to all of us at some stage in our life. So without further ado, we give you Dr. Rhonda Maddox.
Dr. Rhonda, thank you for sticking around for part 2 of our conversation on unhealthy giving. Now we're going to start talking about resentment and boundary. So everyone keeps telling us we got to set boundaries, and then people are like, is it a boundary? Is it a rule? Please help us talk about boundaries.
Thank you for inviting me. Talking about boundaries. Boundaries are your guardrails for how you can show up emotionally healthy without resentment. And it's not about trying to control what other people do, but it is about you outlining how you are going to navigate relationships in a way that feels authentic and healthy and respectful for you. For instance, I don't respond well to people yelling at me. And so you can yell, but I will not be communicating with you for any length of time if that's what so I'm not telling you have to change, but I'm telling you in order to engage me in a way that feels healthy for me, then you can yell all you want to, but you won't be talking to me while you're doing it. Does that? Yeah. So yes. Yeah. So it's not an ultimatum, but it is this is how you play Monopoly with me.
The rules.
And it's not, and we're not playing checkers, we're playing Monopoly. And these are the rules of engagement for me. And you don't have to engage me. You can keep doing what you're doing, but then you're making a choice as to if you're going to navigate a relationship with me,
So Dr. Rhonda, at what point does being the strong one or the one that handles everything become who you are instead of what you do? Like the martyr identity?
That is a great question. At what point? I think that we're evolving, and so there is a way that we present ourselves to the world as a young adult, and then and it's more idealistic. It's grounded in what we've seen our mothers do, what we've seen the women in our life do, and we spend our young adulthood many times figuring out what fits us and what doesn't fit us. And so in our early 20s, particularly for the generation that we serve, in our early 20s, we were superwoman, we were that. And then we started to realize, I'm outgrowing this. This doesn't fit well. I don't I don't like how this feels. This feels heavy. And we started taking some stuff off. Nope, I'm not wearing that anymore. And many times we started doing that because of experiences, relationships, therapy, introduction to religious beliefs. But we started realizing there's some things that we want to take off, and we began to evolve. And so the boundaries that we set to begin with, or the absence thereof, we're evolving and we're changing. And if we have the same people with us as we evolve and our boundaries start to shift, it's not necessarily that they changed, though they may. Yes. It may be that we changed, and the boundaries or the absence thereof no longer serve us. And so now we have to decide, am I going to articulate what my boundaries are, or am I going to resent them? And what happens many times is we will just stay silent because we are afraid of losing the relationship. And when we stay silent because we're afraid of losing the relationship, we resent them and we still lose the relationship. And if truth be told, it was unfair because we never told them that our boundaries changed, that our desires changed, that our wants changed. And then we villainize them, but really we never said what we needed. So we're in this, people talk about it. In the 50s, I do whatever I want to do. In the 50s, I say whatever I want to say. But some of the relationships that we lost in the 20s was not because they were bad people. It was because we were quiet and we were not articulating what our needs are. And it is very unfair if we never told our sister, I don't want to keep your stanky kids, even though they're my nieces and nephews, because you let them do whatever they want to do. And around here, they're not about to tear up my good stuff. But you never said that. That's fair. I mean, it's fair to say, I don't want to keep your kids because they're running around breaking stuff, or it's fair to think that. But if you never said it and then you just ghosted someone without, now there's certain people you should ghost because you've told them 17 times what your needs are and they've ignored you 18 times. And so there's no reason to have another conversation with them. Bye. Okay. You see how I felt that in my soul?
Yes, all the way down.
I felt it for you.
And so, where did you go? Why aren't you talking to me? I don't have time to talk to you anymore. I've said everything I need to say, and you've ignored it 17 times. I'm not having an 18th conversation with you. In fact, I shouldn't have had a 4th conversation with you. Okay, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you didn't say a word. Now, there are sometimes reasons why you don't say a word, because you can't get a word in, or because they're going to dismiss you, or whatever. And what I'm telling you is, that may be the case, and you may anticipate that you know exactly what they're going to say, but I'm challenging you to say it anyway. So they've heard you, so they understand. I remember I was working for Congressman Dingle, who was the dean of the House of Representatives, and there was a particular issue that was coming up. I knew how he felt. Everybody in the office knew how he felt, and I still wrote up my script for what he should say. They said, he's not going to say that. I absolutely 100% know he's not going to say it. But what I do know is he's never going to say, I didn't know.
I didn't tell
you will absolutely know. You will choose not to go in that direction, but you will never tell those people, your citizens, that I didn't tell you, because I was his policy advisor. It was my job to make sure he knew. And so I'm telling you, it's your job to make sure that they know. I'm a coach. In my other role, I'm coach consultant. In my coaching role, I will have many women of color who will come to me and who will no longer use their voice because they feel unheard. They were in the boardroom. They said whatever it was they said, and people were like, la, 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 la. And then someone else said exactly or nearly exactly what they said. And then all of a sudden it was brilliant. And so they're just like, it doesn't matter what I say. And this is what I say. What is your job description? You do your job. You say whatever it is that you need to say, and you lay out, this is what you can anticipate if you do with that. Do this XYZ. If you do this, this is what you can expect. And and you put it in writing best you can. You want to email and say, these are my recommendations. Okay.
The documentation.
You put that in writing. And what they do with what you give them, it's their business. It may not feel right. It may feel like rejection. It may feel you may feel annoyed, but you do your job, and then you let them decide what to do with your recommendations. But but don't you be quiet. You're at that table for a reason, for such a time as this, and and whether they listen to you or not, they should not be able to say, I didn't know.
All great advice. One thing that comes to top of my mind in terms of how you're addressing, back to boundaries and, kind of like that martyr syndrome. I understand how we can model that for our girls. How do you teach that to children? How do you recommend teaching like the boundaries? Like I mean, your
You model
5-year-old
them.
can't, so
You
other than
model
model.
them. And so I remember, I'm going to tell you a parenting low light. I remember
We need to trademark that.
my daughter spanking Elmo. And and I was like,
Wow. What did
okay,
Elmo do?
I don't know
Right?
what Elmo did, but I'm
I
sure
love
it was
Elmo.
not spanking worthy. And so I realized, and there was no discussion with Elmo. Now I know y'all are thinking she done lost her, but listen, it was my intention to make sure that my daughter knew. And so we're driving down the street one time and I raised my voice at her. And my daughter said, and I quote, I am not your child. You will talk to me respectfully or not at all. And she was 2 years old. And I know because we were driving down Monmouth Boulevard. And I looked at her and I was like, babe, I am your mom. Where did you? And before I could get that out, I realized I had modeled for her that no one should raise their voice at you. And
Yes.
I had said to her daddy on at least 2 or 3 occasions when I didn't even think she was paying attention, I am not your child.
Your child.
You will talk to me respectfully or not at all. And I mean that with my whole heart, with my chest stuck out. Okay. And she got it. And so I never told her people shouldn't raise their voice at her, but she heard what I allowed, and that was her
modeled.
standard. And so we hear train a child up when they're young, and when they're old, they won't depart. And we imagine that means put them in school and somebody's at a chalkboard. That's not what it means. It means they will see you loudly and clearly, and they will follow your example. Number 2, my mother was a smoker when I was young. She said, I want better for you. You don't smoke. But get this, she was giving me, do you all remember those candy cigarettes?
Yes.
Oh, I do.
Very well.
Yes.
Oh my God. So first of all, my mother made smoking look like it was Hollywood.
It was
She had
cool.
these
Yes.
these
The circles.
the circles or whatever. And it looked like a cloud of circles. And she smoked the brand Cool. Oh my gosh.
yes.
That was like Hollywood, Marilyn
Yeah.
Monroe, as far as I was concerned.
Yeah.
And then she bought those. I didn't mean to do that. She bought those cigarettes, the candy cigarettes for me. I was groomed to be a smoker. Now I accepted the calling that was put upon me when I was about 5 years old. I was smoking my little candy cigarettes. I had a rough day and they were no longer sufficient. So I went into her stash and I was smoking, and I didn't anticipate she was going to come home. She did. I threw the cigarette in the bathroom trash can. This is when I was living in Maya Angelou's
Lord have
home.
mercy.
In Maya Angelou's home. I'll remember this forever. Threw it into a plastic trash can. Do you know what happens to a plastic trash can when you throw a cigarette in it? Exactly. Well, I will just tell you that I got over my addiction to smoking in one step with the Black Hornet. And the
Oh
Black
my
Hornet
goodness.
was my 12-step program in one. But I learned from her. And so I'm telling you, that was a pretty extensive answer to say, we model it.
Model. Yeah. And I would add to that just briefly that what I have learned is that if you didn't model the characters as well when they were growing up, it's not too late.
That's good. Absolutely.
You always give us so many things to kind of think about and ponder and to reassess. As we are right before the kickoff of the holidays, and when we think about kind of the season of giving. So what does giving, healthy giving, look when we are in the thick of being everything to everyone? So we're kind of going back to this concept of being the strong one. And I want to tell you that I don't want to be strong anymore. I want to be in my soft period. And this phase of my life, I'm saying yes and thank you and no, because being strong was just, it's a
Exhausting.
burden. And it allowed me to get to a particular place in my life. But now I'm like, okay, let me kind of rethink how I'm doing things so that I can allow some other things into my life. But please, can we talk about kind of healthy giving when, again, everything kind of falls on you?
Yeah, I think healthy giving looks like taking a step back and thinking about what brings you joy. We talked in our last episode we talked some about guilt. And so many times we will navigate spaces from a place of guilt. I like to navigate places because I'm motivated by love. So if I'm thinking about what Christmas looks like for me, maybe I examine the traditions I've been walking. Do these traditions work for me? Traditionally, I'm a November, I have a November birthday. And so many times I would spend Thanksgiving with my husband's family. But because my birthday is so close to Thanksgiving, it means I wouldn't be with my family. Well, my family celebrates a little bit different than his family does. And I like both ways. But my last birthday, I spent with his family. I enjoyed them, but I missed mine. This season, even though I've spent probably the last 20 Thanksgivings, this time I'm stepping back and saying, you know what? I want to hang out with my nieces and nephews. They're going to be in town, so I'm not going. So there are some things that you've just out of habit been doing. Maybe they brought you joy, but they don't bring you as much joy as they used to. Maybe you should not be the person who cooks. Maybe this year you guys go on a cruise for Christmas, and
Or go out to dinner.
or go out or cater. I was on the phone with my brother, and my sis in love said she was catering Thanksgiving. Lord, I almost
Yes, amen.
Oh, and I'm going to tell you, and what that looks like is that looked like it felt good for her. But my nephew and I were like, what in the sand hill is come over you? And we need to give her some antibiotics to get it out of her system. Okay. So understand this, as you are backing up and you're choosing different traditions, you're identifying what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Everybody's not going to be thrilled that you are now catering dinner because you want to have your feet up. There are going to be a few of us who are like, oh, we'll get over it. We'll get over it. And if you have traditionally bought lots of gifts, then maybe you say, I want to do Kwanzaa or I want to do this. And that is okay. But what you're going to have to part ways with is everybody liking the decisions you're making. Everybody will not like the decisions you're making, and that is okay. You will feel a little bit anxious when Aunt Susie, that you love, who's 79, says, Sugar, you need to do boop, boop, boop. And you have decided you're not doing it because it doesn't work for you. I'm not telling you to check Aunt Susie, but I'm telling you to say, Aunt Susie, I really appreciate your perspective. That is an interesting point. But I am not inviting others' perspectives on this because I've already finalized this decision.
I'm sorry, how am I going to say that to Aunt Susie?
Aunt Susie?
You
Depends on Aunt
practice
Susie.
it.
Okay.
You practice it. And you practice, I've already finalized that decision, and I'm not inviting feedback at this time. But thank you for that perspective. Thank you for your perspective. I appreciate that. At this time, I won't be going with that right now. Thank you for your perspective. Start there.
I can say thank you
Thank
for
you
your
for your
perspective.
perspective. I always value, blah, 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 blah. At this time, I have finalized that decision and it's not open for discussion.
And that's it.
And that's it. And also make it a practice to not allow people to put you or your children down. You don't want to there are some things. Having a child made me a better person for myself, not because I wanted to be, but because it was important for me, for my daughter to not get the message that certain things were okay. So there's certain things that did not bother me an ounce. However, I knew I had this set of eyes watching, and I could not permit her to think that was acceptable. There were things that I couldn't let her daddy get away with me on because I didn't want her to think it was okay for a partner or whatever to do. There were things that I did let her dad get away with sometimes that I then had to go and fix and say, you know what? I was tired when that conversation happened, and I would apologize to her for certain things. Now I don't want you. Now let me be crystal clear. I do not need you all thinking I'm a perfect parent. I'm not. But when I am not tired and not hungry, I'm an invested parent who is thinking about what it is, what messages my daughter is receiving. And I remember, y'all, I saw her journal. So we have a journal to where I will write in the journal, whatever, and she will write in the journal.
I love that.
Okay. And so we will communicate. And on one occasion, I picked up a journal that wasn't that journal, but I saw what she had written. And she had written, my mom said not to dumb myself down for boys. Now, I didn't even remember saying that. And it was a journal entry from a really long time ago. But I was thrilled that I had said it, couldn't recall it. And I was thrilled that she remembered it enough to write it down.
Wow.
You know?
That's beautiful.
But that's modeling to our other question. And and I'm just gonna tell you, Dr. Morris, I know I answered your question. I don't even remember what the question was anymore.
It's still good advice.
It is. We're talking about unhealthy giving.
Unhealthy giving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Still good advice.
Yeah.
So in terms of like prioritizing yourself, what gives you permission to prioritize yourself, or what would you tell women who are waiting for that permission? I think I know your answer to this, but when can you just stop?
Oh my gosh. I love this question because now I'm that woman who in her 40s and 50s started not needing permission. As I was I was the only child and so a lot of my world was about me. Okay. When you're an only child, families is centered around you. So I was selfish a lot. Okay. But then I got into the Christian faith, and then it was like the pendulum swung. And then I was like all in for everybody else. But that was not my baseline. Let me be crystal clear. My baseline was selfish. But then
wow.
Then this pendulum swung, and it was like, do for others, do for others, do for others, do for others, to the point to where it was just unhealthy, all the way unhealthy. And givers will give and takers will take. And so I was a giver surrounded by takers. And I became emotionally bankrupt and resentful. And so I'm in a place to where I'm saying the right things, but I don't mean any of the stuff that I'm saying anymore, or not much. And I'm angry. And I'm angry because I think you should just know. And they are thinking, you a grown up. You should tell me if you can't do it. I'm going to shoot my best shot. And if you do it, great. And so there's this resentment and this bitterness that was just overtaking my soul. And I didn't like the person I was becoming. And a lot of people will find themselves in that position to where they're surrounded by takers. And one of the first things that you can do is just back up and be like, how did I get here? And how you got here is doing things that you're supposed to do and not using your voice.
Absolutely.
My voice is this. No, ma'am, I do not want to do that. Thank you. And but no, ma'am. My cup runneth over. Thank you for the invitation. So using your voice to say no, not because you don't want to do it or you want to be mean, but you need to understand what your what your purpose is and prioritize doing activities that lead you to your purpose. And every good idea is not a God idea. And if you say yes to all these good ideas, when your God idea comes, you're going to be resentful. You're going to be tired. You're going to be mad. They're not helping me with these kids. This man is not coming to take care of his kids. They're not helping me with my mama. They see I'm helping my mama. They need to come and help too. But you not use your voice. So you have to use your voice. You have to know what you want. And then you have to put your foot down and draw a line. And a boundary is nothing more than a line. And so you have to stick to it. If you let your child ask you 17 times a question and then you say yes, you just taught him to ask you 18 times. We teach people how to treat us.
Absolutely.
What we let go, they're going to keep doing.
And say that phrase again, Dr. Rhonda. Thank you. I've
already prioritized that decision at this time.
I have finalized that decision and I'm not accepting input.
Finalized. I can't read my writing.
I finalized that decision and I'm not taking additional input on that.
All right.
And then you can throw in a respectfully if you'd like. Or you can hug and say, I love you, Auntie, and hug them.
Right.
Okay.
I like that part. Okay.
Yes.
So when you set boundaries, people imagine that setting boundaries and outlining what works for you is mean. And they imagine that you talking about what your needs are, that's mean. It's not. It allows you to show up in a happy space. I recently resigned from a position. I have so much joy since I resigned from that position. I'm so much happier because I was staying on that position. I can't even tell you why I was staying on the position. There are a couple of ladies that I was staying there for. But after I submitted my letter of resignation, there was a buoyancy.
You feel lighter. Yes.
And so there are places that we stay to prove a point that are hurting us. There's some people who are still with that man because your grandmama said, that that boy ain't no good. He not going to treat you right. And you were trying to prove her wrong. Baby, let her be right. And you go on and go into your soft life. There are some folks who are treating us miserable, who are showing us every day that they don't value us, that they don't like us, that they don't want us. But we're trying to keep some partner to keep him from going to boop. Let her have him and you get your peace back.
So now that we have kind of ventured into partnership, so how do you maintain a healthy partnership when you're pouring everything into everyone else?
Oh, honey, I don't pour everything into everyone else. That's how I maintain it. I'm not giving you my all because then there's nothing for me. I will give you 20%. I will give you 40%. I will give you some percent. But I'm not giving you my all. You've not earned it. You don't deserve it. You can't have my all. Oh, no, you can't have my all. Not at all. And if you're giving somebody your all, stop it. Stop it right now. If his name ain't Jesus, stop it today and get some therapy so that you can learn why you are tolerating some of these vicious, malignant, draining your soul relationships. Get some therapy. And I know you think I'm going to turn it over to Jesus and he going to work it out. Listen, every good and perfect gift comes from above. And you are with someone who is a taker and you are a giver. And you're giving and giving and giving. When you go into therapy, you examine what happened in your life to make you think that it is acceptable for you to be a doormat and for people to walk all over you and for you to pretend that it's okay. And if that is what your religion has taught you, evaluate if that is for you or if that particular congregation is for you, because Jesus came that we might have life and that more abundantly. You feeling like a doormat, feeling drained, feeling dejected, being manipulated and talked evil to on a daily basis is not what God has in mind for you. Now, and I'm not going to venture to say that I know God in his fullness, but I know that a good mama, a good daddy don't want anybody mistreating their kids. And so you're not going to convince me that you being mistreated in a relationship and being drained and dejected and talked about and manipulated and emotionally abused is acceptable. That wasn't your question, but that was free, hot off the throne of heaven.
Oh, we appreciate that, because sometimes it's just that you don't necessarily you're so used to a particular behavior, a set of behaviors, that you continue to allow this to occur because either you haven't woken up, you don't value yourself, you don't understand, whatever the reasons are.
You've seen it all your life. If you saw abuse in if you witnessed your mother take abuse, then you're more likely to think that's okay. I remember in the 90s, I went to a funeral, my aunt's funeral, and it was at the white funeral home. It had not occurred to me. I was probably in my 20s or 30. I don't remember how old I was, but I was in my 20s. But I had grown up with segregation, and it had not occurred to me that there was a white funeral home and a black funeral home. And so when my aunt integrated the funeral home, I was like, I never even challenged that, because that's what I grew up seeing. When you grow up being abused, you don't see it as abuse. You see it as normal. Now, answer your question again so I can see if I actually answered that question.
I thought you did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Angela, why don't you rephrase it?
Don't give your all is what I'm saying. You asked me to give your all.
And I think that was the point, is how do you keep from, when you're pouring into everyone else, how do you ask for help, or supposed to be a helper? But the point is don't pour it in. You don't pour everything you have into someone else. And I hear everything you're saying. I think that even in quote unquote healthy relationships where you have a good partner that does respect you, but if you have always done everything for everybody else, you never set boundaries, it's not like you can blame that person because they didn't recognize that you should have had boundaries and you should have been doing something. It's now time for you to take that agency and set the boundaries and develop things for yourself that actually give you joy, so that when your kids go off to college and you're empty nesters, or you're no longer working and you're retired, the things that are all going to be coming, soon for all of us, then you have invested in yourself because you've set some of those boundaries, but also that's what I got from what you had to say.
And we are women evolving. And so the boundaries that we have, even for our relationships, will change if we maybe get a new job that is now working us. And now, we used to go out for Girls' Day on Fridays. Well, you have to renegotiate. And so in our relationships, understand that it is healthy to renegotiate the boundaries ever so often. And it will be uncomfortable. But if the relationship is valuable enough to you, don't swallow your voice and not speak. Because when you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose this relationship. If you stay quiet, you're going to lose the relationship, because you're going to resent the relationship. So don't stay quiet. When you feel that discomfort of not liking something, you can pause for a little bit and write your script and decide how you're going to approach the situation. But if you are too fearful of losing the relationship, I wonder if you even have it.
And then what happens if you scripted it out, you have said your piece or made it known how you feel about things and how you envision things moving forward, and there is either no kind of acknowledgement that such things were said, or or radio silence kind of following that? How do you, I think that's your answer, but then how do you navigate that?
So for me, it's important for me to get clear on, do I want this relationship in my life regardless? However they act, am I accepting this? Or is there a deal breaker in this? Okay, so it's not about what they do. It's about what I'm willing to take. So I've articulated, I don't like this. Now, do I not like this enough that if you keep doing it, I'm out? Or do I not like this, but it's I don't really care for it, but you can stick around even if you're doing it because I value. And so whatever the thing is, you got to be clear on, is this a deal breaker or not? And this is why a whole lot of people don't go to therapy, because they're like, I don't need therapy because I'm not changing. And it doesn't matter what the therapist says. I'm not going to waste a therapist's time. Okay. That's what when people come to me and they're on marriage, are you wasting my time? Or you checking a box, but you know you out? Because don't waste my time. I'm going to see you somewhere else if that's the case. But if you working, then so it's not about them. It's about you. Am I going, if this person doesn't accept it, this person says, I'm still going to chew with my mouth open, whether I'm at the White House or at the outhouse. Am I going to let you be in my life, but I'm not taking you to the White House? I'll take you to Dave and Buster's, but you're not going to the White House with me as my date. Okay. Or is this something to where I'm out? I cannot listen to you chew. I just can't. I can't listen to it. I'm out. You get to decide. You decide. And then once you decide.
Don't decide and then redecide
Well,
and redecide. Yes.
Right. Yes.
Been there.
So yeah, decide and understand though, it just, you are worthy of good treatment, but you choose if you're going to permit the bad treatment. You get to go, you get to stay.
Well, I think you pretty much dropped the mic on that one, Dr. Rhonda.
Absolutely.
As always, such sage advice. And we love having you here. Really, truly. It's always a blast and such good information for our listeners. That's why they'd love to have you back talking with us, and can't wait to share your book and have a whole session.
Where can we get the book, Dr. Rhonda?
Yes.
The name.
Listen, go to Amazon.com and and Google Dr. Rhonda Maddox. The name of the book is Take 5, Pathway to Peace, a 40-day journaling experience. If you got Prime, go over there and get the book. If you want it tomorrow or next day, go over there and get the book. If you want an autographed copy and to be on my list and to be on my radar, go to drrhondamaddox.org. Now, I'm not going to get it to you in 2 days, sugar. And it might not be a week. You're going to get it, okay? And it's going to have something special in there. And then you're going to be on my radar, and I'm going to send you out some doses of inspiration, and we're going to get connected. But if you need it tomorrow, honey, go to Amazon. But if you don't mind having it in a week or so, come to drrhondamaddox.org, and I will welcome you with open arms, and you can connect in Facebook, Instagram, or what have you, and we'll just have a beautiful relationship together.
Fantastic. And so we've got all the ways to connect with you, Dr. Rhonda. Any last parting words for the listeners before we go?
Put Boss Sleep on autopilot. Set your alarm so that you never miss an episode. These ladies talked about how fabulous I am, but I have to tell you, these ladies are absolutely amazing. And anytime they ask me to do anything, if I'm not meeting with Obama or Michelle, I'm available to do it. If Oprah come, if Obama, Michelle, or Oprah. If not, I'm here when they ask me to do it. I'm telling you, all this wisdom that they bottle up every week, you should be here for it. They are the bomb diggity. I mean that.
We love you. We love you. Thank you so much.
We do. We appreciate you. You are a friend of the show, and we look forward. I'm going to say, talk to you later, because I know that you will be back on Boss Sleep, sharing many more pearls, and we're going to talk about your book next time.
All right. And to our listeners, until we meet again, may you be well.
We want to give a huge thank you to Dr. Rhonda Maddox for her honesty and her wisdom, and to our listeners for taking care of everyone else can't come at the cost of losing yourself. What we learned today is this: healthy giving isn't about doing more. It's about giving from a place of love, not stuffing your emotions. And the great part is that we get to decide what good treatment is for ourselves. So Angela, after that moving 2-part conversation with Dr. Rhonda on healthy giving, how are you feeling now? What's top of mind for you?
Well, I always feel lighter after talking to her. She has all the one-liners, but lots of sage advice in between. I love Don't Swallow Your Voice. Have done that, a lot in my life. And so am learning not to do that. And right along with that is, know your feelings, own your feelings, acknowledge your feelings. And it's a hard one. So stop stuffing your emotions. And when you stop that, it gives you freedom. But it's hard if you've done that for, years, or learned that from, those that, raised you or those around you. It's hard to do that. But once you are able to vocalize that, your emotions, your feelings, what your boundaries are, ultimately gives you freedom. So that always, it's always a good reminder, because if it's not your, habit from the get-go, it's still easy to fall back in your same patterns. And I wrote it down, but I can't write fast enough. So I've already finalized that decision, and I'm not taking any further input. But thank you. Something along those lines. That was great. That was a
message to Aunt Susie. The Aunt Susie's in your lives. So please, if you got into this part in the podcast, you listen to the whole episode. But please know we have some real tangible advice on how to script something to say to our loved ones. And I think that's what I really enjoyed about our conversation with Dr. Rhonda, is that she gave us some tools to add to my toolkit.
Yes. And that tool about scripting, the hard conversations, I have found is very valuable. You're not that person that is as comfortable with your voice when it's, during, conflict or just hard conversations. Sometimes writing it doesn't mean that you're literally sitting there reading that, but you've already kind of gone through the motions in your head, and it comes out easier. And hopefully, and being intentional about what you actually want to say versus in the heat of the moment. Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard in the heat of the moment, because either if you're, you lose your voice, or sometimes you can be angry and say things that you wouldn't necessarily want to say. Either way is not healthy for the continuation of the relationship. So no, you're exactly right. And certainly my take homes, I love how she says, and I'm looking down at my notes, every good idea is not a God idea. And I was like, wow, that is great. And to be in your body and not to ignore those emotions and how they feel inside. And that can kind of, even though we're saying yes, we're nodding, but really inside we're saying a big fat no. So it's really important to be in tune with your body and listen to your body. Yes.
Love yourself.
Yes. Put yourself first. Oxygen mask on first. And then you can put the oxygen mask on the people around you.
All of that tied in a bow. Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
So if you are listening today, please consider this your permission slip to pause, to ask for help, and to protect the parts of you that no one sees, but everyone depends upon. So we'll see you next time on Boss Sleep. Please like, listen, subscribe, and follow. Please follow us on YouTube at Boss Sleep Podcast. You can drop us a line via email at Boss Leap. That's Boss, L-E-A-P, Leap podcast at gmail.com. And let us know if you have ideas for shows or any wonderful positive feedback. Until then, until we meet again, may you be well.
May you be well.
That's a wrap on another episode of Boss Leap. May this conversation enlighten your path toward personal growth and professional empowerment. For more thought-provoking and eye-opening discussions like this one, head to our website at bossleappodcast.com. Always remember to celebrate your wins and trust yourself. A positive mindset can push you out of your comfort zone and into far greater heights. Until next time, may you be well.
Before we go, there's one more thing the lawyers have asked us to include. It's the legal language. And you know how doctors love lawyers. This podcast is presented only for educational and entertainment purposes. Although we are doctors, on this show, we are just your friends. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals. Understood? Awesome. We'll see you in the next episode.